BC7 Eyewitness News at 7 starts streaming now.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Rob Elgis.
And I'm Karen Jordan. We want to get right to some breaking news that we have been following this evening. Elevated CTA disrupted service. Service is disrupted at Take a look right here. This is after a loss of track power near the Merchandise Mart.
Chopper 7 HD flying over the scene live for us. This is near Wells and Wacker. Brown line, purple line express trains are affected. Yeah, we've been watching this for a while now. They're slowly escorting these commuters off that train. Firefighters been helping passengers on that train evacuate. Here's some video from the ground. Wow. They say fewer than 100 people are still on board, and they see people are okay, although some are nervous about walking on that catwalk over the river. I'd be one of them.
Yeah, you know.
I do not like heights, and you're up there.
A good point, right. They're getting off this train as it is stuck over the river. Yeah, granted, they are being escorted by professional emergency responders, but yeah, that's got to be a little bit harrowing coming, especially after you end your day at work.
Yeah, just trying to get home. Yeah, so this is live again from Chopper 7 HD. You can see the Green River right below them. That car is over that, so this is a slow process as they take their time to make sure these passengers get off safely and then eventually get to their destination. This power outage continuing the loop. We'll keep an eye on this throughout the hour. We'll update you as we learn more. Oh, here's a ground shot. Okay, this is another one of our cameras. This is a great shot to give you an idea of where it is in relation to the bridges. And there you see it is at least a car and a half there look to be over the river, so this evacuation will continue. Like you said, it's nerve-wracking for some people.
So far, we're not hearing any reports of any complications as far as the evacuation itself. So it sounds like they're really trying to take their time with it to make sure everyone is getting off the trains safely. So we're going to keep our eye on this throughout the evening.
And people are wondering when their loved ones are coming home, and you didn't know. Now you see it live here on the stream team. People just trying to get off that train and then get transported to their final destination.
Some other news we're following. Jury selection is now underway in the bribery trial of the so-called ComEd 4.
And prosecutors say the group tried to bribe former House Speaker Michael Madigan. Our analyst says it could be the trial of the decade.
Michelle Gallardo reports from the Dirksen Federal Building.
Day one ended with nearly 100 prospective jurors being interviewed and about 30 of those dismissed, but no final selection made just yet. In a state already infamous for its high-profile corruption trials, day one of what has become known as the ComEd 4 trial began today with jury selection and U.S. District Judge Harry Leinenweber ruling that he will allow undercover federal recordings to be released to the public. The recordings allegedly implicate the defendants with scheming to bribe former Illinois House Speaker Mike Madigan.
This is a test of the entire political system and the way it was operated under House Speaker Mike Madigan, who was in control of Illinois politics for decades.
The ComEd 4 are former ComEd CEO Ann Pramaggiore, former ComEd lobbyist and longtime Mike Madigan friend Mike McLean, former ComEd executive John Hooker, and former ComEd consultant and City Club responsibility for the actions of its former officers and agreed to pay a $200 million fine.
I see this as a preview of the Madigan trial. There's going to be many allegations and much evidence that's going to be put forward that's going to implicate Mike Madigan.
The four were indicted on charges that accuse them of cooking the utility company's books to disguise their efforts to bribe Madigan, identified as public official A in the indictment. That bribery allegedly taking the form of no-show jobs, contracts, and monetary payments to the former House Speaker's associates in exchange for furthering legislation favorable to the company. The jury will be seated tomorrow, with opening statements taking place shortly after that. The trial itself is expected to last up to 2 months. At the Dirksen Federal Building, I'm Michelle Gallardo, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Tonight, the two candidates for Chicago mayor are taking part in this forum with the runoff election exactly 3 weeks away. Follows a day of campaigning and new endorsements. Sarah Schulte reports.
It was an hour-long forum. Hundreds of people, including residents from some of the city's most violent neighborhoods, showed up to hear Paul Vallis and Brandon Johnson give their ideas about how they would reduce crime. It's a mayoral forum centered around Paul Vallis's favorite issue, public safety. Violence prevention groups, crime victims, and faith-based groups made up the audience, where Vallis and opponent Brandon Johnson presented very different visions on how to address crime. Vallis says community policing is key.
There's no substitute for effective community-based policing with full accountability, and that means implementing the consent decree.
In the city of Chicago, we spend more per capita on policing than Los Angeles and New York. And the question we have to ask, are we any safer?
It was a busy day for both mayoral candidates as they received more endorsements. Dozens of women, including several elected officials, came out for Johnson at Rainbow Push. And he received the backing of the abortion rights group Personal PAC.
I'm dedicated to making sure that we are protecting the reproductive rights of women, as well as protecting abortion rights.
Personal PAC accused Vallis of staying silent on the fight for abortion rights in Illinois.
The fight for reproductive rights in Illinois has been going on for decades. Where has he been all that time?
Vallis says his position has never changed. While he is personally against abortion because of his Greek Orthodox religion, he's not against the choice for others.
My personal views do not in any way interfere with my public position, and I've always been an unequivocal supporter of protecting a woman's reproductive rights.
Vallis says voters are more concerned about public safety and their pocketbooks, two issues that drove some elected Latino officials to endorse Vallis today. They criticized Johnson's plan to raise billions in new taxes.
Raising taxes is the last thing we need in this city.
The election is 3 weeks from today. A new independent poll shows the race is tightening. Paul Vallis is leading by 6 points, but 16% of voters remain undecided, which shows how important these forums are. At UIC, Sarah Schulte, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Sarah, thank you. Paul Vallis and Brandon Johnson will debate this Thursday right here on ABC 7. And you can watch it live at 7 p.m. on our digital channel 7.2 and our streaming platforms. That might be where you're watching us now. You can also watch the debate on Friday night after Eyewitness News at 10. It'll air again on Sunday at 4 p.m. Our crews have been working to get the studio all set. We're about ready to go.
Yeah, it's going to be a really big one. Also, we have been seeing just a beautiful, clear weather today. I mean, look at this gorgeous sunset, and it's great that it's already, what, 7 o'clock?
Right, and it's still daylight. I mean, there was not a cloud in the sky today, but it was cold.
It was.
Yeah, we're not out of winter just yet. Greg's with us again on this Tuesday. The sun was great, but the warm-up would be nice, too.
Walking down State Street, looking at my breath, I'm like, what is going on? Like, what month is this? What's happening here? Satellite and radar, though, showing that, yes, indeed, our skies are clear. There are just some lake effect clouds over in southern Michigan, northwest Indiana here today. And moving forward through tonight, nothing doing in terms of sky coverage. We've got clear skies during the overnight. We don't get quite as cold as we could with those clear skies, but it is still, make no mistake about it, going to be a chilly start tomorrow morning. Lower 20s. Maybe some upper teens out away from the city. And then that sunshine continues right through tomorrow morning. We'll be in the lower to mid 40s by 11 o'clock, and mid to upper 40s will be our daytime highs. Wednesday is the warm one. Thursday is even warmer, but we start increasing the cloud cover and we see some rain. We'll see if that rain turns into snow, and then what's ahead for the next weekend, all coming up in a few minutes. Over to you.
All right, Greg, thank you. President Biden is visiting Monterey Park, California today. The president's visit comes less than 2 months after a deadly mass shooting during a Lunar New Year celebration. Today, the president signed a new executive order aimed at increasing the number of background checks to buy guns. ABC's Melissa Adan reports from Los Angeles.
A new executive order on gun control signed on Tuesday by President Joe Biden. The order aims to increase the number of background checks to buy guns, promote more secure firearms storage, and ensure U.S. law enforcement agencies are getting the most out of a bipartisan gun control law enacted last summer. The president addressing the move in Monterey Park, California.
I continue to call on Congress to require background checks for all firearm sales. And in the meantime, my executive order directs my Attorney General to take every lawful action possible to move us as close as we can to universal background checks without new legislation.
The president visiting the community where a gunman stormed a dance hall near Los Angeles and shot 20 people, killing 11 following a Lunar New Year celebration. It was a 26-year-old who wrestled the semi-automatic pistol away from the gunman. Brandon Say sharing with ABC how terrifying that moment was.
I feel like I was going to shoot another person, that I might cause the death of another human being. is a very scary thought to think about.
Tuesday's action does not change U.S. law, but it directs federal agencies to ensure compliance with existing laws and procedures. Current federal law requires background checks to be run on all purchases from federally licensed gun dealers. The president is also meeting with families of the victims and first responders from the Monterey Park shooting. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Today, the Illinois Supreme Court heard arguments from both the state and challengers of the Safety Act, which took effect January 1st. As it stands, people have a right to be released on bail after being arrested, depending on the judge's discretion. Kankakee County judge ruled the act unconstitutional, but the state argues there's nothing in the Constitution specifying cash bail as the only option.
I think the most compelling argument is that there's no language in the Constitution that says you have to have monetary bail.
We feel very strongly that it's a serious public safety issue, but at the same time, we want to join in the fight towards reforming bail.
If the Safety Act stands, Illinois would be the first state in the nation to completely abolish cash bail.
There's a meeting tonight on public safety in McHenry County after a series of burglaries. Police in Lakewood are speaking to concerned homeowners after meeting with other police groups last week. Police say that thieves are targeting high-end homes near golf courses, and there have been 3 homes broken into since the end of January. And police say that a gang of thieves from South America may be responsible. Officers have beefed up patrols.
Guys are donating time and everything. They're really committed to the project here, and we want to get these guys as soon as possible.
Police in nearby Oakwood Hills sent residents this email alerting them of the burglary ring, which they say, quote, attempt to break into homes through patio and glass doors. They steal expensive jewelry.
A memorial is planned this weekend for a Bolingbrook woman who was hit and killed after she got out of her car when it stalled on her way to work. This crash happened February 22nd at Joliet Road and 107th Street in Bolingbrook. Her father describes Jenna Cawthon as a fun-loving, positive person. According to family, she had a big heart and a contagious laugh. She was the mother of 2 sons, ages 13 and 4.
She was a fighter. She fought for those kids and stuck up for them, got them in the schools that she wanted them to go to.
Driver who hit Jenna remained at that scene, and police did issue a citation.
A crash that injured 2 Chicago police officers may have been the end of a crime spree. That's according to University of Chicago police. A 17-year-old is now facing charges in a crash from last night near 38th and South Cottage Grove. University of Chicago police say that he is one of 3 teenagers who robbed 5 people in several different locations before that crash. 2 others were also arrested, but so far have not been charged. And those officers in the crash are expected to be okay.
Southside Restaurant donating 100% of profits today to the family of a fallen Chicago police officer. Officer Andres Vasquez Lasso was killed in the line of duty earlier this month. Today's fundraiser is going on at Joey's Red Hots at 115th and Western. Organizers say if you can't make it to Morgan Park, donations are being accepted at other Joey's Red Hots locations.
Starting next week, the agency charged with holding Chicago police accountable is giving members of the public a chance to see how it all works. Leah Hope has an early look at the COPA People's Academy, the first program of its kind anywhere in the country.
New training starts here on the West Side next week. It's 6 weeks of classes about police oversight in Chicago, and it's open to the public.
We need people that live in these neighborhoods here in our city to know who we are before we knock on the door, to understand the role that we play so that they might trust us with their experience or their information.
Andrea Kirsten is the chief of the Civilian Office of Police Accountability. The office investigates police-involved shootings and allegations of police misconduct, releasing some of the evidence to the public, including videos, and eventually its findings and a recommendation for discipline if warranted. But some of their work is not public.
We have to approach that evidence consistently and with the same lens every time. And so my hope is that this opportunity will be a demonstration of the way that we bring that objectivity.
Chief Kirsten is creating the People's Academy to share with those interested in their work toward transparency and ultimately police reform.
This to me is an opportunity to really highlight why this work and this work being done independent of the police department, independent of City Hall, but by an agency led by civilians becomes a really important voice in this conversation.
Michelle Phillips is among those participating in the First People's Academy. She is the first independent inspector general for the city of Oakland, California.
I think it's a huge, huge step in the appropriate direction for civilian oversight and helping to rebuild trust in communities.
Phillips hopes to replicate some of the academy for citizens of Oakland. While there are some registered for the academy who are in police oversight, we are told most are interested citizens. Registration is open for the free academy that starts March 21st. In Chicago, Leah Hope, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
The students at Elmwood Park High School followed through today with plans to walk out of class. This follows an incident last week when a student brought a gun to school. The group protesting today says the student body was never told about it. Walkout was planned last week, but classes went remote for that day. The school district superintendent just issued a statement saying a staff member who was involved with the response to the gun incident is currently on administrative leave due to an ongoing investigation.
A groundbreaking in Chicago's Back of the Yards neighborhood today. It's the latest project in the city's Invest Southwest initiative. It's called United Yards, and phase 1 of the project will be built at 47th and Justine. It'll include 51 affordable housing units, retail space for local and minority-owned small businesses, and a healthcare center and more.
I challenge any of you to think about the last time the city of Chicago funded investments in Back of the Yards. You won't find it because it hasn't happened in decades.
And the mayor says this project will be an economic catalyst for years to come.
IDOT officials are hoping they can reopen a section of I-55 tonight after repairing that massive pothole that opened up yesterday. This morning, crews poured a fast-drying concrete, but it's taking longer to cure because of the cold temperatures. The two right lanes on the southbound side of I-55 over Route 53 are impacted. As you can imagine, it's making a mess of the afternoon commute. I came inbound and saw all those cars waiting. Hopefully they get this fixed tonight. And the potholes can cause major damage to your car. If you hit one on a city street in Chicago, there's a way to help recover the cost of repairs. Our Evelyn Holmes reports.
Just as Chicago's winter appears to be coming to an end, the city's other season is getting underway as work crews take to the weather-beaten streets to fix those nasty potholes left behind. This suburban man is glad to know repaving crews are out. He's just wishing that it happened before he had to pay a couple of $100s to have a rim on his luxury sedan repaired after it was damaged by one of the city's infamous potholes.
So this has been happening at the duration of my whole life, actually. It's my whole driving career.
The months between December and April are considered to be the heart of pothole season, when area roads see the highest number of potholes. The specialists at Chi-Town Custom Rims, Wheels, and Tire Repair have been busy all morning.
This year, they're really coming out now. As you've seen this morning when you came, we already had 4 people that came in that had rims damaged.
According to 311 data from the city of Chicago, so far this year, more than 17,000 potholes have been reported, more than 15,000 in streets, and another almost 2,000 in alleyways. As of the end of last month, potholes increased 59% compared to the same time last year. The heavily trafficked Westtown neighborhood here on the city's near northwest side has the highest number of reported potholes so far at 633. The Chicago Department of Transportation says the public can report potholes to 311 as well as submit proof of vehicle damaged by any pothole and may be able to receive some type of compensation. Little comfort to this West Sider who's almost out $500 because of pothole damage.
It's not going to make a difference. So I just don't, you know what? I don't want to be bothered.
Reporting from Chicago's near west side, Evelyn Holmes, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Evelyn, thank you. Back to that breaking news. We're told Chicago firefighters have finished evacuating people from this CTA train over the Chicago River after the train stalled during the near the Merchandise Mart. Chopper 7 HDUC still flying live over that scene for us. Looks like they're just checking out the track, but they've got everybody out.
That's right. So that's good news right there. We are told that apparently there was a power failure in the area. Brown and purple lined trains were impacted. Also tonight, another brand of insulin is getting cheaper. We'll have that story straight ahead.
Also, a young girl making Chicago proud for helping save her mom's life. Tonight, that girl was honored. We were there. You got to hear the 911 call. She is so sweet and smart.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, welcome back, everybody. I mean, come on.
That's
if we have Chopper, we're definitely going to use it because this is
Good call.
a great,
Yeah.
beautiful shot as the sun is going down. Very calm, very beautiful right now.
This is the time, because pretty soon it'll be daylight at this time, which will be great. But these sunsets we're getting in the 7 o'clock hour, the golden hour, as Cheryl likes to talk about it, it's just perfect right there.
You know, the thing about it is it was so clear and so crisp. It was just cold today.
Yeah, Greg's here with the forecast again. Yeah, you were saying you could see your breath because it was chilly.
And the good news is that the same weather that was in place today in terms of the sunshine will be here tomorrow, but the subtleties of the wind shift will make a huge difference in what the day actually feels like. You'll see that here. That's like the core of my weather segment. But first, though, taking a look at the satellite and radar and showing those clear skies, with the exception of a few lake effect clouds over Lake Michigan today, it was, yes, absolutely crystal clear as that big broad area of high pressure is still in place. The core of the high is just barely off to our west right now. It's just crossed the Mississippi River. It's kind of in between the Mississippi and I-39. Again, that's the center of the high that's really influencing the entire center of the country, providing us with the sunshine. But today we are on the cold air side of it. Right now as it drifts overhead, our winds are kind of going calm, but we are on the northerly cold side of it today. Now tomorrow, as this continues to drift off to the east, we get into the warmer air, these southerly to southwesterly breezes. Check out the timer here as we head into early tomorrow morning. That high drifts overhead and our winds will change to the south. And that makes all the difference in the world. Yes, we may see some higher level cloud tomorrow later on in the day as this system approaches, but plenty of sunshine and the help of a benefit of a southerly to southwesterly wind. Well, that's going to warm us up into the 40s and even close to 50 degrees. Futurecast, we do have to talk about this system, of course, as it moves out of the Texas Panhandle, moves across Iowa. A lot of rainfall here. The latest tracks on this are a little bit farther south than where they were at this time yesterday, and that does drag some of the heavier rainfall into our area. Yesterday I was thinking quarter to maybe a half inch of rainfall. Now it looks like a pretty solid bet that we're seeing half of an inch of rain, if not up to 3/4 of an inch of rain. With that little southerly shift in the track too, it looks like we could catch some of this wraparound precipitation. That'd be late Thursday night, but probably more likely Friday morning as this does exit the area. But that is just mop up time. It doesn't look like it's going to have a huge impact on the forecast. We'll keep an eye on it, of course. But with the subtle track change, we definitely have a better chance of seeing that snowfall as it wraps up. And again, as I mentioned, yesterday it was looking like a quarter to about half an inch at the very most. Now we're pretty solidly around a half inch to perhaps 3/4 of an inch of total rainfall here. That's about where all the weather models are at this point. They're between about a half and 3/4 of an inch of rainfall before it's all said and done. Again, possibly some snow, windy behind that system, and another shot of cold air moves in for the weekend. High of only 30 on Saturday, even colder than it was today. But this may be the last one right there. Possibly, hopefully, the last one that we're dealing with the really cold air. Springs on Monday, and temperatures will go up with it, 47 degrees. That is still below normal on Tuesday, but we're at least working in the right direction, and a sign of the right direction is all you can hope for at this point.
I'm worried that you're almost guaranteeing that we're done with the 30s after that day.
No, not 30s. I was more looking at the 20s,
Okay.
like the teens, 20s type nonsense, you know.
Yeah.
So hopefully it looks like that's done with. Yeah,
Okay.
that would be nice.
Yeah, for
We'll
sure.
take it.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Greg.
No problem.
This might be the story of the month. Making Chicago proud, a 9-year-old girl who stayed calm when her mom passed out in their home. The city of Aurora honoring Aria Lehman tonight. The two were the only ones home when the incident happened last month.
Oh, this is really interesting. You've got to see this. Little Aria stayed calm while calling 911 for help.
Is she still passed out?
Yes. She's still breathing, but she's passed out.
We're just going to hang out and talk to each other until they get there to help you, and then I'll call your daddy, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, sweetie. You are doing so good, and you are being so brave.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness, what a sweetheart. There she is. She is a polite little girl. Oh my goodness. Aria's mom spent 16 days in the hospital, but she is now doing well.
That's
and
her
Kate
right there.
Kogerin was at today's ceremony. She'll have more for us tonight at 10 o'clock. And you know, that really is remarkable. She's 9 years old. How many adults would be
I'm
freaking
with
out
you.
calling 911?
I don't think I could, if it was your loved one or your mom, that would be hard. You can see them both there, so Kate will have I hope she gets to interview both of them. I want to hear her talk some more because she's adorable.
That cute little voice.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, changes to your spice rack. The reason one top company is changing its bottles.
But first, the I-Team warning about phishing emails and texts, how new chatbot technology can be used to fool you, and what you can do to protect yourself. Meta, the parent company of Facebook, has announced it will lay off another 10,000 workers. It's the second round of job cuts at Meta in 4 months. The company also says 5,000 open positions will not be filled. Meta and other tech companies aggressively hired workers over the last couple of years, but are now making those cuts.
Another drug company has announced it will cut the price of insulin. This time it's Novo Nordisk. The drug maker says American customers could see prices reduced by up to 75% starting January 1st. The products include pre-filled pens along with vials of short and long-acting insulin products. Earlier this year, Eli Lilly also announced that it would reduce insulin prices.
The Justice Department and Securities and Exchange Commission are investigating the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank. The two probes are separate. They're in their preliminary stages. It's not clear if any wrongdoing has been committed. Silicon Valley Bank failed on Friday, was taken over by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. Signature Bank closed its doors Sunday, suggesting financial panic had spread. Today, shareholders sued Signature Bank and 3 of its former top executives. The bank failure is expected to have an impact when the Federal Reserve makes its next interest rate decision that comes soon. The Fed will also be watching inflation, and new numbers are out today. The The Consumer Price Index shows prices in February were up 6% compared to a year ago. It's down 6.4% from the month before. Food prices rose 3%, the smallest monthly gain in nearly 2 years. Still, food prices are up more than 10% from a year ago. Price of eggs, that's finally dropping, down 6.7% last month after soaring over the past year.
Now, an I-Team alert about artificial intelligence and how scammers can use it to send you texts and emails that might look very real. Consumer investigator Jason Knowles shares what to look out for.
It's a legitimate and popular online tool called ChatGPT, which can create well-written letters. But tech experts say thieves can also use it for wrongdoing. It's artificial intelligence that can easily create summaries or stories in human-like language. It's called ChatGPT. Here's how it works. So I said, write me a letter about ABC7 Chicago. Let's see what it does. It says ABC7 Chicago is a television station that serves the Chicago metropolitan area, offering news, weather, sports, and other programming. And it's quite thorough. It goes on and on.
It's become hugely popular very quickly.
Alex Hammerstone from the tech security group Trusted Sec says like anything popular, criminals may find ways to abuse the chatbot technology.
So the scammers know about this and they're using it to fool you.
They are, they're able to craft, well-written, scam emails.
Now, if a scammer uses ChatGPT, it makes the job easier and could increase the volume of phishing attacks, which may convince you to click a malicious link or hand over personal information. Plus, ChatGPT summaries may now be very well written with perfect grammar. That means you want to be on guard now for texts and emails that look well written. That goes against traditional warnings.
One of the biggest pieces of advice that we've always given over the years for these phishing attacks or phishing emails and other things are to look for poorly written emails. A lot of the people who write these are based overseas and maybe English isn't their first language.
A spokesperson for OpenAI, the company that developed ChatGPT, says we don't want ChatGPT to be used for misleading purposes anywhere, and pointed the I-Team to the company's other tech called Classifier tool, which helps differentiate between AI-written and human-written text. But if you don't double-check,
it's almost impossible to discern some of these phishing attacks from a legitimate email at this point.
One way to avoid phishing texts or emails altogether is to ignore any unsolicited correspondence. If you think a company or government agency legitimately reached out to you, call them directly to verify. You can report phishing schemes by going to our website, abc7chicago.com. Jason Knowles, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
It's wild to see the things that are progressing from ChatGPT.
Sure is. Getting more and more prevalent.
Yeah, right, in common. As the NCAA tournament begins, some companies preparing to make money while others lose a lot of money.
Well, the cost to American offices as workers get distracted by the games.
Plus, the new feature to help electric vehicle owners find a place to charge their cars. Finding charging ports for electric vehicles is getting easier. Waze just released a new feature. Now you can enter your type of electric vehicle in the app. Users have helped put in a map of the different charging stations along your route, and Waze says data will be reviewed and updated in real time to make sure it's accurate. We both own electric vehicles. This will be helpful.
Sure will.
Because sometimes you're like, I think there's a charge there, but I don't know if it works. And Waze, a lot of people use.
That's true. And are the chargers occupied?
Right.
You know?
Are they occupied? Are they working?
Yes.
I know Electrify America has had trouble, but this will alleviate hopefully some of those problems for
Very
people.
interesting. All right. Well, changes are coming to your spice rack. McCormick is changing its bottles, and you're probably familiar with the current red top bottles, and now they're being upgraded with the new snap caps. The company says your ingredients should stay fresher because you will be able to hear the container close. New bottles of cinnamon and red pepper are already hitting store shelves.
Wow. We got a lot of those in our cupboard.
Yeah.
You just look for the red bottle, you're like, okay, no, that's where mine.
No,
but I
I
guess
like
it still
that.
looks red. Yeah, especially if it stays fresher longer.
That'll work. I like all this ingenuity.
The NCAA tournament's here. The first 4 games tipping off tonight. And while companies can often build morale by hosting contests, the tournament will cost companies. Chicago-based workforce experts Challenger Gray and Christmas says the tournament will cost employers more than $17 billion in lost productivity. It's up $1 billion from last year's estimate. Did you see our email from our general manager?
I saw
We're having like a party on Friday. I
Very
hope John's
timely.
not watching. Yeah. We're having a March Madness party. We got to wear our gear, apparently. We're going to have food and a bracket for entertainment purposes.
If you can't beat them, join them. You know?
That's right. We're not going to lose any money, though, because we're going to work harder
Right.
after we eat. That's the plan, at least.
Yes, sure.
Who's your team?
Did you have the pie today?
No, I missed it. Yeah, it was Pie Day. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but we had pie here. Did you get some? Because you were in earlier.
Yeah, I did. It was delicious. I had key lime.
What other ones do they have?
They had apple strudel. They had lemon chess pie, which I wanted to taste. It was good. You had it?
Did you have one?
I had the lemon chess pie.
You had the lemon chess? Chess? What?
Chess
Chess.
pie. Chess.
Chess. Okay.
Oh, it's a southern thing. I'll tell you all about the chess pie.
Wow. No,
It's
I
so
missed
good.
it. Who's your team in the tournament? Do you have?
I don't have one.
You don't have one?
I think I'm the one person who doesn't really follow the NCAA. Well, Northwestern.
Right. So you got your Wildcats because you went.
That's what I said.
Yeah. That's what I'm
what I
sticking
said.
to it. Yeah, they've got to go out west to play. Illinois is going to be in Des Moines, so. Oh yeah, Dion. Thank you, Michelle, telling us Dion is with Northwestern.
Out in Sacramento, I believe.
Yes. So she's
later this week.
Right.
So.
She's actually working as part of. So this will not deter her job.
Productivity.
Right, her
Exactly.
productivity or money for the Walt Disney Company.
Exactly. Well, a piece of Chicago sports history is going up for auction. A rarely seen photo of Shoeless Joe Jackson, believed to be taken just days after the scandal-ridden 1919 World Series. Shoeless Joe was considered one of the best to play the game, but is often best known for his involvement in the Black Sox scandal, when Chicago White Sox players were accused of conspiring with gamblers.
That's a really good look at him. Like, I've not seen a photo of him like that. I would never have guessed.
No.
That's going to go for some money.
Say
you
it
would
ain't
think.
so, Joe.
I know, right. An even more recent piece of Chicago sports history also hitting the auction block. Shoes from Michael Jordan's Last Dance season. The amount they're expected to go for, it's got to be a ton. We'll find out. And plus.
Meet the Chicago area native now making history on Broadway. Greg.
And a look ahead at our forecast for tomorrow. Looks a lot like this, but not quite as cold. Oh, would you look at that? You've got the evening star out there, Venus, on the horizon. We'll talk more about your forecast coming up in just a little bit.
Venus.
celebrating Women's History Month right here at ABC7 Chicago. Tonight, we want to introduce you to a local woman now starring on Broadway.
Cheryl Burton has more with the history-making actress.
Emily Quachu is making history in her Broadway debut as Christine Daae in The Phantom of the Opera. Taking the stage at the Majestic Theater in New York City, this young woman is the first African-American actor to land the lead role.
When there's a black woman for the first time in 35 years playing Christine, and you think, like, what are these audiences gonna think, you know? And you hold yourself up to such a high standard because you feel like you have to exceed expectations.
Quachu grew up in the Chicago area, dreaming of one day making it big on Broadway. She started performing at a young age, taking voice lessons at age 7 and getting involved in community theater in Northwest suburban Palatine.
Phantom was the first show I ever saw on Broadway. I sat like in the nosebleed seats and like I didn't really see much, but I remembered like the mask at the end and that beautiful image. It's kind of beautiful in full circle.
The Fremd High School graduate quickly mastering the bright lights and the big city, but admitting to having stage fright at her opening performance.
I struggled with anxiety about, you know, am I good enough? Why me? Will I be able to do this well? Will I be able to do other people proud? Will I be able to make my parents proud, and, like, other black kids proud?
Quachu is adjusting to her newfound fame and committing to becoming a role model for others.
Growing up, I had probably 2 or 3 people in the industry that I could look up to and think, these people are doing what I want to do. And now people who were my age back then can look at me, can look at all of these different actors and be even more inspired to pursue their dreams.
She won't say what her plans will be after the final curtain call next month, but she is proud of using this platform to empower other women.
I'm just so excited that we get to end on such a positive note and a nod to like the future of Broadway.
Emily Quachu will lead the final cast of The Phantom when it ends its 35-year run on April 16th at New York's Majestic Theater. By the way, Phantom of the Opera is the longest running show in Broadway history. Cheryl Burton, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
We talked about this a lot earlier today. Want to know how old she is. She's 25. It's coming to an end. Our floor director, Lee, his wife, was a huge part of Phantom, right? Back in the day.
She played Carlotta.
Carlotta.
For 10 years.
10 years on Broadway.
Awesome.
So is she going out there for the final shows?
She is going out there for the final.
Are you going?
I am not.
Oh, man. Well, we got to hear about it. Yeah, you got to stay and work. But so much history with that. And then making history here.
Yes.
She's incredibly talented.
And
can't wait to see what she does next.
Really, exactly. I'm sure her future is just so bright.
If she's not sharing it, there's got to be something big.
Yeah.
Right? She was reluctant, Cheryl said, to talk about it. So that's awesome.
A lot of things in the works.
Yeah.
Vinyl is officially back. Sales are proving that it's not just a fad. That's ahead.
My neighbor has a killer vinyl collection. The dude's got it all. Plus, coming soon to a galaxy far, far away, George Lucas's own Star Wars collection. The new date his museum is expected to open is not opening here, as we know, but we'll tell you more about it.
Right.
Phone down. We did this yesterday.
Yeah, we got a lot to chat about here.
We've invited you back after our
I gotta adjust my chair so I don't look like.
Oh, you be taller. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, okay, I think we're all even here.
Yeah.
So we're talking about vinyl albums, and the comeback is now official.
Yeah, for the first time in more than 3 decades, vinyl records are outselling CDs. Now, that's according to the Recording Industry Association of America. The group says people bought some 41 million vinyl albums last year, compared to 33 million CDs. Vinyl sales have been growing for 16 straight years.
And you know what? You see that if you scroll social media, especially TikTok. You see a lot of people kind of doing this retro listening room with their turntables, playing albums.
I remember my daughter for Christmas years ago wanted one of the little player, and you just got 2 little speakers because all the pop stars were releasing vinyl.
Yeah.
You said you
I think the sound quality is better, and it's great. I pulled out some of my oldies but goodies, the Duran Duran albums.
Oh, from like the 80s.
From the the original one.
I've got some old like folk ones, and then I also have a Rage Against the Machine album on vinyl, which is cool. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I think the aesthetic looks cooler. And B, like, CDs just don't have that good of audio quality.
I'm amazed that CDs, remember the 6 CD changer in your, like, this was the greatest thing I ever had. And I tell, the kids, like, the way you would hit, like, a shuffle was the 6 CDs would have to change, and it would take, like, 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah. But you got to watch, but it was such bad technology that they thought the way to sell it was to let you watch it. Like, no, watch the CDs.
Right.
Watch them.
This is cool.
Now, you might not remember this, but do you remember when we had, I hope cassettes come back, is where I'm going. Like, cassettes were awesome. And I had a boom box, and you would listen to the loop. I would listen to 97.9. And then when that song would come on that you wanted, you'd hit
record.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how we made mixtapes.
Yeah,
on your cassette. And then
straight from the radio.
Right.
And if the DJ didn't talk too much, it's like, clean copy of the
clean cut. And then you've got your second deck where you then cue it up and trim it a little bit to get it perfect on the second deck. Yeah.
If you had the 2-deck boombox, oh my goodness. But
the worst was when the tape would just unspool.
Oh, that was it.
And then
you take a pencil.
Yeah, you take a pencil and just spin it.
Then your mix was gone forever.
Greasy mitts are all over the magnetic ribbon.
But vinyl. So for folks my neighbor, he's retired now. His collection is worth it. I'm sure you have a good one too, Lee. Like he has doubles of everything, like Zeppelin and Dylan and all like great old vinyl stuff. Busted out occasionally. We'll play pool over there. It's so awesome.
That's awesome.
I remember sneaking my parents' Richard Pryor albums.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully they're not watching this. But yeah, it was pretty cool.
And then you quietly flip to the other side because you want to hear the rest of the comedy. That's good stuff.
Yeah, some stuff, some scandalous stuff.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was awesome though.
So, okay, shoes. We have some details on special shoes, and they're almost certain to set a new record at auction. Michael Jordan's Air Jordan 13s. That's from the 1998 NBA Finals, Game 2, to be specific. That is the Last Dance season. Sotheby's expects those shoes to go for $2 to $4 million. Yes, you heard right, million. And that would top the current record. Also a pair of Jordan sneakers sold in 2021. And the bidding on this opens April 3rd. What's your shoe size?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd fit into it, but you can't wear those, right? You have to, I bet they go for $4 million.
Hermetically sealed box.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Because those other shoes sold for several million last year, 2 years ago. These will go for a fortune because of Last Dance.
Right.
Yes.
Because of the signature, because of...
I'm trying to remember Game 2, if they won that, it would have been here. I think they had home court. Anyway, that would be so cool to see.
Look it up,
I never had Jordans as a kid. They were too expensive.
Just got my first pair.
You did?
Just got them a few weeks ago, but yeah.
That's awesome. They were too expensive.
Oh, no, I didn't have them either. Yeah, and when I was an adult, finally I've got enough income to buy a pair of Jordans, so here we go.
If you had those, you were so lucky, or you saved money, or your parents got them for you, because $100 at the time was a ton, and now you can't spend.
Or grandma and grandpa were chipping in, and it was like a combo gift.
I had the black Converse with the Larry Bird Magic Johnson, I think, one. No, they were the Larry Bird ones, and that was all I got.
Those are cool.
They were great, though. They were cool, but not Jordans.
No.
Man, I'm going to try and buy those. I'm not. Hey, listen up, fellow Star Wars fans. Construction's back on at the Lucas Museum of Narrative Art. Museum by Star Wars creator George Lucas, now set to open in 2025 after years of controversy and setbacks. Lucas and his wife, Chicago native Melanie Hobson, are building the museum to showcase 100,000 items from the filmmaker's collection. Do you remember this? At one point, Chicago was being considered for the museum, but it faced controversy, and it's being built in Los Angeles.
I don't even want to remember that.
Because it was like, it's happening because of Melanie Hobson, and he's going to do it here, and then it just fell apart.
Yes.
And now they're going to do it over there, and he's going to share his private collection.
And now we've got the space that maybe Soldier Field is giving up. We could have built it right there.
That's a great point, right? Because they were talking about down in that area. And this was before the Obama Presidential Center.
For sure.
Way before that. That would have been a perfect spot.
We got some land to sell.
That's right.
You want to flip around on that,
If you're
George?
watching, reach out.
Never too late, hopefully.
The stuff he's probably got, because it's not just Star Wars stuff. I mean, he was going to share.
Right.
He's got a lot of Wizard of Oz stuff, I think, too. He's got like really good Hollywood memorabilia. Can't imagine.
We tried.
We'll have to travel to LA to watch it.
Yep.
We tried. It didn't work out. We're almost done with the show. Last look at weather from you.
Yeah, and it's not a bad look either. And we're looking outside as well as folks are getting ready. What do we got over there?
We looked it up. It's Jay Shetty Live.
Okay.
And
seems to be a huge draw. There was a major crowd of people.
Yeah, and
apparently he is a podcaster, a life coach, a former monk.
Oh, that's cool.
So he talks about meditation, and I was looking up after Karen told us who he was. We looked him up, and apparently, he's a motivator. And
He's draw more people than we would draw there. So,
like Karen said, I mean, there was a line down the block.
Down the block a while ago, yeah.
They're in now.
All right, so taking a look a little bit further off on the northern side of town from where you just saw, and we're along Wacker Drive and the Chicago River. Can't tell if the train is still hanging out on the bridge. Don't see too many flashing lights though, so maybe that's a good sign. But 35 mostly clear degrees, and the winds are still out of the north-northwest. I mentioned this earlier, that north-northwesterly wind is really the driving factor in why we are so cool today and why we're going to warm up. Winds will change to the south and eventually southwest as this high continues to move overhead. This is the air we're kind of eyeing up here out off to our west, and we will still have the sunshine for tomorrow when that high finally moves overhead. Now, one thing about tomorrow I do want to point out as our winds do turn is this. We'll increase the cloud cover just a little bit though. See upper level clouds here early Wednesday morning and a little bit more in the way of cloud cover by Wednesday afternoon. And that's as that system, you can even kind of tell, is getting its act together, the one that brings us the rainfall, but thankfully not much in the way of snow Thursday and into Friday. Now, this track has changed. I did mention this earlier. It's more of a southerly track now, so that'll kind of drag the rain snow line a bit closer to us, but I still don't think it's too close for comfort. It still looks like we're going to see 99.9% rain out of this and perhaps a little change over to some snow on the back edge. You see that back edge again changing to snow early Friday morning out in Iowa, and it'll likely be towards the tail end of the Friday morning commute. And at this point, it hasn't shifted enough south and east that it brings it completely into the area. As you see, it kind of runs out of moisture here, still holding on to rainfall at noontime on Friday, and then maybe a brief period there between about noon and 4 o'clock where we change over to snow. That is not long enough. There's not enough moisture left over for us to see much in terms of a change in our forecast here from staying mainly rain. So that's what we're going to go with, about a ½ inch of rainfall for us before we get into some drier weather during the beginning of next weekend. But the problem is we still have another shot of cold air behind that system. Very breezy Saturday and into Sunday. High of only 30 on Saturday. Hopefully one of the last real cold mornings we have before we warm it on up. Spring begins. Does not feel like spring on Monday. Kind of doesn't feel like it on Tuesday either. Our normal high, it's getting around about 49 or 50 degrees this time of year. March has been a bit lackluster, but still not much in the way of snow. Like 17 inches of snow on the whole season. It's just mind-blowing. We get that from a storm sometimes.
Right, no kidding. The entire season.
Yeah.
All right.
Not a lot.
Thank you so much, Greg. Well, are you ready for it? As Taylor Swift gets ready to kick off her highly anticipated tour, the town hosting the first show is finding a way to honor the star. That's next. Just after hosting the Super Bowl, Glendale, Arizona has a new name, at least ceremonially. It's calling itself Swift City because Taylor Swift kicks off her tour there this weekend. The new name is just for this upcoming weekend while Swift is in town.
So that starts this weekend.
Oh, yeah, remember the whole kerfuffle with getting tickets?
Oh, yeah.
It was a big mess. I hope it goes well there. I wonder what tickets are going for.
On the secondary market? Yeah,
They're cheap? Oh, Michelle's a...
Oh, well,
it's
yeah.
bigger stadium, maybe she's saying it's cheaper there than here.
You also have to go to Arizona, so that's not Chicago. Like,
no.
Fly
there, buy
Arizona,
tickets,
buy tickets
and
to
here.
stay here.
Wow, if you're a Swiftie, it might be worth it. We talked about this earlier. Happy Pi Day, that's spelled P-I, no E, March 14th, or 3.14, also known as National Pi Day, in honor of the mathematical constant represented by the Greek letter. Pi is the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter. Most people celebrate with pie the food or pizza or any other circular shaped food. We should have shot our party today.
We did, yeah.
There's pie here and you guys enjoyed it.
yeah, it was good. Pie is good. I was hoping for pizza pie, but I will take the chess pie, which I'd never had before.
It's delicious.
Yeah, it was good.
It was lemon. I didn't taste it. Just regular chess pie is very sweet, almost like a custardy pie.
It was super sweet. I was surprised, but it was good.
So good.
And you had a lemon variation.
I had a key lime pie.
Key lime.
Which is, that was delicious.
You were talking about pizza on Pie Day like a week or two ago.
Yeah.
It came up. Were you going to get some tonight?
Tomorrow we're getting pizza. Yeah, because it's my Friday.
Yeah.
So we'll celebrate on 3.15, I guess.
Remember we had to memorize all of that, and some people can.
Oh my God.
Yeah, some people it's like a parlor trick. They can go like that whole first line.
I can't get past 3.14.
No.
Yeah. Well, it's easy because it's 1415. 926, and that's as far as I can go.
Ooh, good for you.
Well, 1415 is easy. 1415.
1415. Okay.
Well, you're a scientist. So
Yeah. Well, I don't know the last time I've used pi for actually anything.
just read words off that screen is all I do. It's been fun having you. You back with us tomorrow?
I'm back tomorrow. We're going to talk more stuff.
Yeah, right. We'll see you then.